You know what time it is? It's time to have another fun pen collection update. We're late. It's been like forever since we haven't had one. And I want to share some cool things with all of you and a major check on most of the other things happening around Pen Venture. Welcome back. As always, I'm your host, Emmy from Pen Venture. Welcome to a personal fountain pen collection update. Since I'm back in the saddle, I want to share with all of you some background things that are happening at this moment at Pen Venture just as well. It's been quite some time since we haven't had a fountain collection update. I'm super caught up with all of the things that are happening around Pen Venture, Gravitas, the Monster launch. This kind of interaction is something that I'm always missing on, and I take great joy and happiness whenever I have time to stand in front of the camera and have this sort of personal interaction in which I am showing all of you some of the things that I've just added to my personal fountain pen collection. The new things that I'm going to show you that join my personal collection of writing instruments are things that I've been testing, and I've gathered some more experience with them in the past month plus or so. I believe it is time to share an update on the views that I had on these writing instruments and the things that I've discovered while using them, inking them, and just owning them. So where do we begin? We begin with the latest Visconti Homo Sapiens full demo. This is a pen that I've recently reviewed, and just like I told you in the review, I've added one of these pieces to my personal fountain pen collection, and for the past 2 weeks or so I've been using it and I've been inking it, and I believe it is one of those writing instruments which are going to be a highlight, at least for this year, and who knows what Visconti will come up with in the next year just as well. We're going to be finding out. I'm going to be finding out in January at the Visconti convention next year. This fountain pen edition model sparked up my interest for Visconti for many years, in which I was just like asleep and I have not had anything from them. So this is a limited edition which is based on the Visconti Homo Sapiens, and it is taken to a next level phase. Features a very interesting nib with those cutouts, and it's one size fits all, basically a fine, which is flexy, bouncy, juicy. And here is the aftermath after 2 or 3 inking procedures and washing it, and I believe it behaved well. It kept its name, full demo. It is still a demo, no stains, but again, it requires a very lengthy washing procedure, and a lot of water needs to be pumped through the system in order to take all of that ink. It needs to be let to soak. If you are a OCD person, just keep in mind that this pen is something that will require more steps in order to make it clean. And if you intend to make this writing instrument glass clean, like see-through clean, like the first day that it got it, this will be in need to be revised from your end. If you want to change the ink color, just pick something close as a shade or go completely different. Like if you have a light ink and if you've seen that there is some reminiscent of that ink in that pen, some inky water or a ridge where some of that ink sticked there, just put a darker ink and just forget about it. It's going to be combining and it's not going to be a problem. The snapback of the capping system, it's flawless. I just completely forgot about how rewarding is this hook safe lock mechanism, and after using this writing instrument and having it with me, I just remembered how cool it is to have this bayonet type capping mechanism. In this past 2 weeks when using it, I discovered also that the posting of this pen, it is not ideally what I would recommend, because I don't know if it's visible, but those pens, they are part of the hook safe lock mechanism. They guide the cap and they catch right here in these grooves and help with the capping motion of the pen. But when you post the pen, imagine those screws are going to be touching the barrel, and as you rub and post this pen, I believe metal on acrylic, this one will leave some traces. So I have not identified this in the review of this pen, but in use, I was in a situation where I couldn't find a place to have my cap sit on the desk. So the safest place was like, I'm gonna be posting the pen. And when I put the cap on, I felt like those screws touched the barrel, and I was like, oh, now this is something that I would be in need to share with everyone who wants to have one of these writing instruments. The nib is flawless, it works great, it's bouncy, it is interesting, and whenever you see myself using a blue ink in one of my writing instruments, it's because I use that pen and I travel with that pen, and whenever I go to sign documents or something, it is mandatory in Romania at least to have blue ink. And this is why you see myself using so many blue blacks or blue inks. That means that specific pen is something that I intend to have with me. A fountain pen, which I do recommend if you want to get one. They are not cheap. They are, on the contrary, quite pricey, limited edition, and it's one of the highlights of this year. If you want to see a more in-depth review of this specific writing instrument, I'm going to leave you a link right here. Super happy that I was able to add one in my personal fountain pen collection. They are still available, and they are not going to be around for too much time because Visconti has troubles supplying ourselves with this writing instruments, being so popular and being so many distributors that just simply picked all of them. We're going to have a look at the writing sample in just a few moments with this Visconti. We should add this writing instrument to the list down below, and let's move towards something from Gravitas. As you know by now, we had a launch of the Gravitas Monster, and probably the lack of videos is because this writing instrument is so popular that from that 1000 pieces batch, we are approaching roughly around 600 plus units being already sold in just like 2 months. This is a very, very popular model, very interesting model, which I've added 2 pieces to my personal fountain pen collection. The silver one and the black one. In the video with the Monster, I mentioned this, and this black one, it's been with me since it first showed up. Very interesting fountain pen, interesting filling system. For the past 2 or so months, I was able to develop a sort of routine with this pen, inking, washing, and I've discovered how it's working, how it's behaving in time, in use, in ownership, and I want to share with you more updates regarding it, but we for sure are going to be having a video in which we are going to be debating this model, its use, cleaning procedure, maintenance of this writing instrument. But in this video, I'm going to be trying to stay short. I picked the black one with a extra fine nib, and I went to the complete opposite of the black one, and I picked silver with the broad nib, which is backwards from extra fine. I believe the combination is something very, very cool because the broad point and the extra fine point are the points that I love the most from this lineup. The fines and mediums are cool and everything, but for my personal taste, I want to have the extra fine. So this is why I have this gorgeous, gorgeous blue-black ink in this writing instrument, because this travels with me everywhere for fun factor and for writing thank you notes towards my customers. I'm using this writing instrument, which has a broad point, the Silver Monster, and I love the model itself. I love the size, the feel of it. Keep in mind, we're going to have plenty of things to be seen from Gravitas as we are going to be following up, but this Monster made from anodized aluminium and acrylic, optical grade acrylic with this interesting filling system, it's worthy to have a spot in your collection. There is a lot of talks around the internet, let's call it like this, in regards of how to actually grease one of these writing instruments. So the fact that the Monster is using a quad ring. This is where you find the quad ring right here, black, made out of rubber. It's not your classical O-ring, which is round. If you cut a section off, it's round, the normal O-ring. This is a little bit more square, and it touches the barrel at 2 points, and in between those 2 points there is a film of lubricant. Each time you use the filling system, that film of lubricant gets to lubricate the entire interior of the filling system. You will see right here a line of lubricant. This is something that comes with every single pen, and this is not a manufacturing defect. Actually, it's the line which is left from the lubricant itself. This writing instrument will not require such a thorough procedure of greasing, but whenever you feel like the pen will be in need of some greasing and you see the greasing just not being present in the barrel, you wash the pen and it needs that because it feels not smooth when it's working, you need to grease it. And with the use of a toothpick, which I dipped into some silicone grease from Gravitas, you have it available on their website, and you go like this and you just put like a small dip of a line in front of the piston, and you go like this without touching the barrel, then 1 or 2 times, to spread that grease, and it should work. I've seen people asking, well, Emmy, how do I get this lubricant in the 2 touching points of the quad ring right here in between those 2 points? You need to actually disassemble the pan, and you need to do that very carefully. If someone watching right now wants to disassemble their monster writing instrument, it is possible, but there is no tools at this moment with a Gravitas logo and a specific procedure which can guide you in order to do that. If you want to proceed forward with this, you will have to do it on your own. Gravitas is working to develop a tool to take this part right here removed to gain access in order to clean the barrel of the pen. We got from Gravitas one of those prototypes for the spanner. I believe you can use something very similar from any toolbox like a spanner. I don't know the size between those 2 prongs right here, but you can check and find the correct size for that, and you just untwist, and that's it. You remove. This is welded right here, so there is no way to unscrew and remove this, and there is no need to do that. If you want to just grease your monster writing instrument, you take a toothpick with a little bit of grease on it, and you put a little bit of grease right here in front of this gliding part, and you put a little bit of grease in the channel in between those 2 points which are touching the barrel. Pretty much that's it. If you want to clean the interior of the barrel, you take a paper towel and you just wipe the interior of the barrel. Then you proceed by inserting it back, and you put your spanner and you twist counterclockwise. Don't go overboard with the twisting. Keep in mind, this pen is sensitive. We have clear acrylic, all sorts of metals which are attached towards acrylic, so be very gentle. This is how this pen is greased, and the filling system just continues to function normally. It is time to update the list down below with these 3 writing instruments and also proceed with a writing sample. Let me show you how you would bring more ink from the barrel into the double reservoir, which is right here. You untwist and you do, you see, that's air from the section, which now is ink. Monster, silver, broad nib, very juicy, very, very interesting. A little bit of stubbiness, but that is perfect. Very smooth. And if you press on the snip, you would have a little bit of line variation. It's a fun pen. Now let's try the extra fine point, and you will have a very interesting comparison because right here you have the broad and you will have it next to an extra fine. We're going to do the same thing. Untwist. Bring a little bit of ink. Close the double reservoir right here, and Monster, black, extra fine. A little bit of feedback, but it is to be expected with an extra fine point. The extra fine point, it's a more practical nib and more precise for the size of the monster. So this is something which I would be to pick for something which in my terms, it's a workhorse, very, very prone to be carried writing instrument. Let me check how flexy it is. Well, it is not as flexy as the silver broadpoint. I've heard, don't quote me on this, that the PVD coated black nibs of Gravitas and other companies, they become a little bit more rigid whenever they are PVD coated. So if you want to have more flexy nibs, stick with the silver ones. And now let's put the Homo Sapiens side by side, these two beauties. And again, just like in the case of the Monster, we are going to be opening the valve, giving the pen a few pumps and just screwing back. And now we can be sure that this ink window is primed and it's full of ink and it's ready to put some lines on paper. So Visconti Homo Sapiens full demo. It's a nib which is a fine plus, I would say. It's a one size fit all. In my opinion, it's a fine. But if you are accustomed to just applying more pressure normally when you grip the writing instrument to write with it on the paper, it will feel like a fine plus or even a medium. And for someone which is not using at all pressure when writing, it can feel like a skinny fine. For me, it's a normal fine. And this nib is very, very smooth considering it's a fine. There is more line variation. Have a look at this side by side, something in steel. You see plenty of line variation. The feed keeps up with this nib. It is not like in need of an ebonite feeder, at least in my case. And here is a look when completely flexed. It's a gold nib. I would not push it any harder than what you see right here. And it's a very elegant writing instrument, which I am enjoying maximum. If you want to know more about this writing instruments, if you have questions, use the comment section down below. Let me know what you want to see next. The sales season is just beginning, so we're going to have a lot of exciting things to share with all of you for our USA customers and friends. Whenever you import writing instruments or anything from Europe and other places, make sure you ask about the taxes involved, because the de minimis regulation, which sort of made things more easy for imports under $800, it's no longer active. In our experience with DHL so far, we've seen a lot of things being misinterpreted. It is still in developing, and we believe that with time and patience, these things will be sort of normalized. And at one point, it's going to be a little bit more easy than what it is right now. We are doing our best to offer information whenever we are asked by the custom authorities in USA for all of our customers, and we try to navigate this process alongside you. And so far, neither do you, neither do us have all of the image. It's still in pieces, it's still in development, it's still fluid, and we don't know what's going to be happening next. But we're going to be here to help you out with your purchases from Gravitas or PenVenture. And if you have any questions, use the comment section down below and let us know. With that being said, I cannot wait to go about with the next video. We have some interesting things yet to be discovered. Thank you so much for sticking around in this video with me for so much time. I really missed having this interaction with all of you and I hope that I will be able to have videos for all of you much more frequent. Let me know if you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. This will help us a lot with the YouTube algorithm. If you want to be part of the PenVenture family, subscribe to the PenVenture YouTube channel. It's very easy. Just click there, turn on the notification bell on, and you will be informed whenever we have new videos. If you want to continue watching my previous videos, I'm going to leave this right here. You can click and enjoy. As always, I'm your host, Aaron from PenVenture. I look forward to seeing you next video. Take care, stay safe, bye-bye.